I am Prashant Kavle. Welcome to the class of Mechatronics. So we are dealing with the unit number 3, and the name of this unit is Data Acquisition and Microcontroller System. So what is the content of a unit number 3? So, introduction to the signal communication and types of synchronous, asynchronous, serial, and parallel communication. Bit width sampling theorem, aliasing, sample hold circuit, sampling frequency, interfacing of sensors, actuators, and for the data acquisition system, then 4 bits approximation register, SAR, analog to digital converter, and digital to analog converter, it's R2R ladder type, and finally current amplifier and voltage amplifier. So this is the things which we have to deal inside the data acquisition systems in unit number 3. So what is this figure indicate? These are shows the element of a mechatronic system. So what are the elements of the mechatronic system? Sensors, then input conditioning and interfacing systems, then digital control architectures, output signal conditioning and interfacing, and then actuators, graphical display also for human machine interface such as LCD, CRT. So signal communication is a method or means or a combination of thereof conveying the information of any kind of one person or place to another except the direct communication. So sending a signal, okay, so means of communication, it should always go through the medium, a medium by which a message is conveyed. For example, when I talking, you are listening. So what is the medium? Medium is the air through which this wave is travel. Okay, so medium. Okay, agency of a communication, a facility which embrace the personal and equipment to provide a signal communication. So basic communication model. So just see this is the important one. So first is a sender and last it's a receiver. So sender send its information in terms of encoding message. This message is travel through the message channel require hardware, and then it will goes to the receiver end. So receiver receives, before that message is decoded to understand, and then once it is received at receiver end, receiver will send feedback to the sender that it received that message confirmation. In between, noise will be introduced. This is the things from the environment will be happen. Okay, so what is the medium? Medium may be oral, written, visual, or electronic channels, in person, phone, text, email. So this is the basic communication model which is applicable to the all types of communication. Now data transmission, it is very important thing. So movement of data from one place, from sender to the receiver. Okay, so data is always transferred in terms of bit. Okay. This transfer of data takes place via some form of transmission media such as coaxial cable, fiber optics. Types of data transmission. So what is this figure indicate? Data transmission broadly classified into the parallel communication and serial communication. Again, serial communication is divided into the two categories: serial synchronous, serial asynchronous. So everybody got the idea what is the types of data transmission? Parallel, serial, in serial, synchronous, asynchronous. So parallel data transmission. So what is the figure indicate? Figure indicates the parallel data communication between the sender and receivers. So they are joined by some lines. So what is this? These are the data transmission line. Each line sends some bit. So how many lines? 8. So we can say 8 bit parallel data communication between them. All the bits of data are transmitted simultaneously on a separate communication lines. In order to transmit n bit, n wires or lines are used or required. Thus, each bit has its own line. All n bits of one group are transmitted with each clock pulse from one device to another. Multiple bits are sent with each clock pulse. Parallel transmissions is used for shorter distance communication. So please see that there are n number of lines are used, so hardware cost is increases. So it is used for shorter distance. For example, from computer to the printer. So it is sent this data, it is a bulk of data transmitted to the printer through the parallel communication. Okay, from parallel communication. But when I send the data in long distance, then these parallel lines will be not, you can transfer no doubt, but cost will be increases. So whenever it's a long distance, then we have to use serial communication. Advantages: it is a speedy way of transmitting data as a multiple bits are transmitted simultaneously with a single clock pulse. When single clock pulse, if it is a 8-bit channel, then 8 bits sent simultaneously. If it is a 16-bit, 32-bit, 64-bit, then that much bits, that much lines should be available. Disadvantage: it is a costliest method of data transmission as it requires n lines to transmit a n bit at the same time. So next one is a serial data transmission or series data transmission. So the what is the figure indicate? So sender receiver, but there is single channel between them. Okay, one line, one wire. So various bits of data are transmitted serially one after other. It requires only one communication line rather than n lines to transmit data from sender to receiver. Thus all bits of data transmitted on a single line in serial fashion. In serial transmission, only single bit is sent with each clock pulse. Is used for long distance communication. Okay, it is economical for long distance communication. Parallel economical for short distance communication. Use of a single communication line reduces the transmission line cost by a factors of n as compared to the parallel transmission. Use of convergent device at source and destination end may lead to increase in overall transmission cost. This method is slower as compared to the parallel transmission as a bit and transmitted serially one after other. Now we'll see the types of serial communication we have seen in the last two slides before: asynchronous, synchronous. So we'll go for the asynchronous communication. So just observe the figure carefully. So if you see the figure, this is a sender, this is a receiver, and this is a single line communication. Now these bits are transferring. So if you see, when the bits are transferring, there is a 0 at the starting, there is a single 1 bit at the end. Okay, now what is their meaning, why this is so, we'll see one by one. It sends 1 byte of data at a time. Bit synchronization between the two devices is made possible using a start bit and stop bit. So this is a 0 is a start bit and 1 is a stop bit. Start bit indicates the beginning of data, alert receiver to arrival of new group of bits. A start bit, usually 0, is added to the beginning of each byte. Stop bit indicates the end of data, that is, let receiver knows that byte is finished. One or more additional bits are appended to the end of byte. These bits, usually 1, are called stop bit. So have you understood? So in asynchronous communication, whenever we send the data, this send in a bunch, this is sent byte in bytes. So whenever a byte is there, it start of this by 0 and end of byte by 1. Okay. So additional start and stop increases the number of data bits. Hence more bandwidth is consumed is asynchronous transmission, because you have to introduce start bit, stop bit. So what is happen? The load will be increases in the transmission line. There is an ideal time between the transmission of different data bytes. This ideal time is known as a gaps. So what is a gap? Gap means waste. This mechanism is known as asynchronous because at a byte level, sender and receivers needs to be synchronized. But within each byte, receiver must synchronize with the incoming bit stream. So in front of you, if you see, this is a network communication between the two computers. So most of the internet traffic will be done by asynchronous communication type. So most of the time between the modem to modem transmission is done by asynchronous communication. So just observe the figure so you will get idea. Okay. So synchronous. Now just observe synchronous serial communication. So it can be send the data in the single format, synchronize. Then it is sent in terms of frame. Frame consists of the different types of bytes. Number of bytes will combine to form a frame. There is no start or stop bit. synchronous transmission does not use start and stop bit. In this method, bit stream is combined into longer frames that may contain multiple bytes. There is no gap between the various bytes in the data stream. In the absence of start and stop bit, bit synchronization is established between the sender and receiver by timing the transmission of each bit. In order to receive the data error-free, the receiver and sender operates at the same clock pulse. If the clock pulse of sender and receiver will be different, then there is a miscommunication. Okay. So most of the times in your exams they will ask you the common question, comparison between serial and parallel transmission. Now we'll sum up. So serial transportation of the data will be happen 1 bit in a 1 clock pulse. Here in 1 clock pulse, what is happen? N bit will be transferred. Number of lines required are 1 line. Here n number of, if it is a 8 bit, then 8 wires required. If it is a 32 bit channel, then 32 wires required. 64 bit channel, 64 channels required. So speed of transfer data, that it has a single line, so it's a slow, but it is a multiple line, so it has a faster transmission. Cost of transmission low as 1 line is required. Hardware will be less. Here hardware will be more. Application long distance done by serial, shorter distance done by parallel. Now comparison between a serial communication, different types: synchronous, asynchronous. Data sent at a one time, usually 1 byte. In synchronous, multiple bytes can be sent in a one frame. It is in the frame format. Here is a byte format. There is a start stop bit used in asynchronous. In synchronous there is no start stop bit. There are gaps exist due to start and stop bit. There is no gaps. Transmission will be slow, transmission is a fast. Cost will be low in asynchronous, cost will be high in asynchronous. So data applications in a system. So all the real life system, there is a acquire data. Then once you acquire the data, then record the data, then analyze the data, and then derive information from this data to do some useful job. So acquired, record, analyze and derived the information is one of the important thing. For example, in real life system, say the ATM. Okay, in ATM through which we are we are just taking the money. So once you insert the card, what is this? It will read the card information, it will acquire the data, then it record the data, then you do some transaction, it analyze the data. If you ask for 1000 rupees, it will see whether the 1000 rupees balance will be there in your pocket, means in your account. If it is yes, then it allowed. Then it will do the job, it will give the money and just debit 1000 rupees from the bank account, and it will give that much information in form of printed receipt. So data acquisition involves gathering signals from measurement sources, digitizing these signals for storage, analysis and presentation on system. So gathering from the measurement sources and process this signal for storage, analysis, and for presentation. 5 component when building a basic data acquisition system. These are the 5 components will require: transducer, sensors, which are the basic part of the measurement system. Then signal condition, these are the processing elements now. Signals, signal conditioner, data acquisition hardware, driver and application softwares. So the minimum building basics component for data acquisition system. So in front of you it's a bird eye view how the data is captured. Okay, so input measurement system, it's an analog signal, digital signal, it may be counters, timers, sensors, motors, relay. So physical form, the signal sensors will capture the signals, it will send to the transducer sensor, from transducer sensor to the signal conditioning to the A to D converter, and then computer. So one of the important part coming, it's a signal conditioner. So what is exactly the signal conditioner will be do? So signal conditioner has a n number of function as per the input data. For example, if the input data coming is non-linear, most of the times when we capture the data which is sent by the sensor or transducer, it is most of the times it's a non-linear signal. So this non-linear data you have to convert into the linearization. So you have to do this with the help of some algorithms stored. Okay. Then if the incoming signal it is in high amplitude, then we have to go for the suppress the signal. So it is known as the attenuation. Okay. If the input signal is low amplitude, such as from the thermocouples, then it is a low voltage signal, then convert into the high voltage signal, a high amplification will be done. If there are noise introduced in incoming signal, then this noise cancellation will be done by signal condition. Nowadays in phone noise cancellations will become, so you can see when you are talking and if there is surrounding sound automatically depressed. Okay, analog to digital, digital to analog. If it is a non-isolated signal, convert into the isolated signal. So these are the various tasks of a signal conditioning system. Now we'll see what are the functions of a data acquisition systems. Okay, obtaining the data from the process, then filter the data if required, amplifying the data, sampling the data, sample and hold the data, do ADC, analog to digital conversion. If required, reverse process, digital to analog conversion. Then digital storage of data on a hard drives, transmission of data to other devices. So these are the some functions of data acquisition systems. Now types of data acquisition system. Single channel data acquisition system. So a line diagram shows single transducer is there, which is connected to the signal conditioner, which is connected to A and D converter, and finally to the printer, display, computer, whatever the requirement. So one of the best example of single channel DAS, it's a digital thermometer. So there is single transducer such as a thermocouple is there, which send this signal low voltage towards the amplifier. Amplifier will be do the needful and convert this signal with the help of ADC module, analog to digital converter, and then with the help of parallel communication will display this information in the form of numbers. So this is the best example of single channel data acquisition system. Now multiple channel data acquisition system, what has happened? There are n number of sensors or transducer or modules which is used for input, and that much number of signal conditioning devices are there. An important device which is introduced, it is known as a multiplexer. So multiplexer will be gather the data, it will store in its memory and then send in a queue properly to the sample and hold circuit. Then sample and hold circuit send this data on a clock pulse basis to the A&D converter. A&D converter converts the data into the digital format and show and send it to the computer microcontroller or to the human machine interfaces for proper communication. Okay, so these are the line diagram or bird eye view of a multiple channel data acquisition system. So what are the applications of data acquisition system? So data acquisition system is required in R&D purpose, characterizing logging behaviors or for the property, discovering scientific phenomena, systematic investing in the new product design and validation and verification for testing purpose, quality, confirming that system meets initial design specification, establish evidences that a product meets its user needs, manufacturing and quality test. So performing functional and system level production test, end of line pass fail quantity testing, checking for defective products and subsystem, diagnostic and repair. This is very important. Now the region, okay, identify cause of failure, manual ad hoc troubleshooting, characterizing malfunction system, asset conditioning and monitoring, long-term continuous monitoring equipment, identifying problem before failures occurs, trending logging, alarming in the event of error conditions, PC-based control and automation, controlling process without human interactions, automatic the operations of machinery, performing open loop and closed loop control such as a PID. Okay, so various at every stage nowadays in automation we require this data acquisition system for various purposes. Okay, so I think today we'll stop here. We'll see the next part regarding the data acquisition in a next session. So thank you for watching the video. If you like this video, then subscribe my YouTube channel, like it. So stay home, stay safe.